Welcome to Uncloaked Illusions. I'm Chris Anthony. Good morning. I have not had an opportunity to do any of my cleansing rituals. I did a commentary last night about the DNC scandal and Donna Brazile admitting that the primaries actually were rigged in Hillary's favor. Now, if you didn't know, the DNC is actually $24 million in debt before this particular election campaign. And Hillary Clinton paid that off. And her only wishes was to run the DNC. Now, this explains a great deal of what had happened. Donna Brazile actually having to step down because she forwarded questions that were given to her for the CNN debate, which is, if you remember, why she seemed to be very victorious in the first debate. And I love the second debate because he literally took the gloves off and Trump did not take any hostages. He just annihilated her and everything that the Democratic Party stood for. Now, if you don't really know, it also came out that the dossier, the fraudulent dossier, was actually paid for by the DNC and Hillary Clinton. And I believe they paid like a ridiculous amount of $12 million to produce this fake, fraudulent dossier about Trump with collusion in Russia. It's ridiculous. Now, I say all of that to say this. When it comes to the Democratic Party, they raise all this money. You never see any of it being used or utilized in any way to go back into the communities of the black people, of any minority for that point. And they campaign on the backs of the minority. Thus the reason you see this whole Syrian crisis where they're trying to bring in all these immigrants because they feel like they're going to be ignorant to the policies of this country and they're going to just vote Democrat and get free shit. You know, one thing I've mentioned before is the whole socialism scandal and the lack thereof of the millennials and a great deal of older people as well. I believe they're the yuppie generation, not really understanding what socialism is. I mean, if you don't really understand it in full, you can look at the Nazi Party because they were a socialistic party as well. Socialism, in my opinion, and in my research, it's just a softer version of the communism and what that particular ideology is standing for. And you cannot fleece the working class for very long to sustain or to support pretty much a brain dead, self-entitled, basement dwelling group of goddamn millennials or people. And that's what it seems to cater toward. Now, I had another point that I completely forgot about. Yeah, now with that whole dossier situation, that was the basis for the FBI's investigation on Donald Trump. So again, the chips are kind of falling as they may, and things are being disclosed now. The criminality of not only politicians in general, but in the Democratic Party is starting to be exposed. I want to see if people will be more induced to take the red pill or they want to stay in la la land, so they take the blue pill. And that's what you're seeing happening, is you're seeing these things start to come to the surface of what really happened. You have the Democratic Party now willing to throw Hillary Clinton under the bus. You have to wonder why. Why is she being the sacrificial lamb? Again, I just look at and laugh at the brain dead rejects that followed behind Hillary Clinton with absolutely no investigating it themselves, no research. I remember when Mark Dice was doing a video based in California. This is really funny because Californians seem to be fucking crazy. And excuse me, he was doing this video kind of implementing this rule that Hillary Clinton was going to implement had she become the president, which was bringing Sharia law, a policy or something that's more of a religious belief in Saudi Arabia, where women literally have no rights whatsoever. But if you knew anything about Sharia law, then you would understand that not only women not having Sharia law, Muslims actually, they throw gays off the goddamn building. But you have a lot of gay people that backed Hillary Clinton and got behind her, and who was ready to take on those types of policies that they really, really did not understand. Again, lemmings go along with any kind of movement without having any goddamn knowledge about it. Now, these young ladies and even men that Mark Dice was interviewing, he was asking them, he was prepping them to answer the question by giving them a little information about one of the policies that she was going to implement, which was Sharia law. Now, mind you, these fucking idiots, they were all excited and happy for and because of this so-called policy without understanding exactly what it was. This is the American people. This is the American people asleep at the wheel, which means it's dangerous because they can not only hurt themselves, but they can hurt others around them. This is how I view when it comes to voting. One being informed, one having some knowledge about what exactly they're voting for. And I do agree, and I hold strong to what Socrates felt when it came to a voting population, that it should be something for the informed people. Ignorant people should not be allowed to vote. And this is just my opinion. Now, leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel about the developments, because it's still developing. There's still more information that's surfacing and that will surface. By the end of this, I will not be surprised if the Democratic Party is completely fleeced and doesn't really exist anymore. We're already seemingly, we already have moved to a one-party system a very long time ago. It's just that no one ever knew, and we get behind these ideologies without understanding that, they're all lobbyists, and they all only care about what the corporate interest is, and not what the American people's interest is. I posed a question, I think a couple days ago, about the amendments, picking at least 2 amendments that you would stand behind 100%, and you probably cannot imagine being infringed on or removed completely. And there's 2 that you really don't agree with, you don't stand behind whatsoever. That's still going on. Whenever you decide to leave a comment, make sure you implement that so we could start a dialogue with that. And I'm Chris Anthony, and I'm out.